Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3. Let's get some more. Have your hands. Some more. Just give some more.
Well, hello, and welcome to my Whiskey Den, your favorite public access whiskey review show where craft whiskey is king, and that is 110% tonight. We are doing some really, really unique choices from Cat's Eye Distillery and their Obtainium series. Now, I know Mike knows a little bit more than I do, but Ben, do you want to do what do we usually tell our lovely fans at this moment?
There's a few little things we'd like to remind you of. Like, comment, please comment. Make some great comments. You people are smart. You know stuff. Make a good comment. Share. Let the good people know about the greatness of this channel. And subscribe. Please subscribe. Do it.
I like the way you're phrasing it. Thanks to everyone in the chat who was here earlier. I know Eli's out there. I know Renita was out there. Oh, Fred Swanson. It's good to see you
Fred.
out there.
Yes.
Nice to see you. I see Ice House. John Krantz is out there. That's awesome. Good to see all you guys out there. Thanks for stopping in early. And remember, everyone who's in the chat, YouTube's chat tends to have more people and be a little bit more exciting, but we don't care where you watch. We love you doing it wherever it is. Mike, what do we know about Cat's Eye Distillery?
Cat's Eye Distillery. So Cat's Eye itself is a small family-owned distillery in Bettendorf, Iowa, on the east end of the state. Very pretty, beautiful area if you ever go over that way. They started off where they just wanted to make really good products. They had a background. The owner had a background in winemaking, and they'd come up with a couple of very unique whiskeys. One of them, the Essence of Iowa, takes the very premium heart cuts, and then they've got a Krupnik, which I've got that one, which is it's very interesting. It takes that Essence of Iowa with the premium heart cuts, and then it adds honey and orange and lemon zest and cinnamon and cloves and everything, and you can see it in the bottle. And it is, and they call it Christmas in a glass, and it really is. It's very warming. It's a really nice whiskey, but obviously distribution fairly limited, being they're a small distillery in Iowa. Well, a few years ago, along with a gentleman named Gene Nassif, Gene partnered with them, and he wanted to do kind of a procurement, so they came up with the Obtainium series, which is that's what we're going to do tonight. And they go out and they find things. They source whiskey from literally all over the world. They have done Canadian rye, Polish rye, Tennessee whiskey, Kentucky whiskey. They're looking, I think, at a South American whiskey, a South American malt. Yeah. So, and I can't remember, there was another European one that they had talked about doing, but they're trying to be extremely transparent about everything about where it's coming from. But the problem that I ran into is, as transparent as they are and as straightforward as the labeling is on these very nice whiskeys, it's hard to find out some other information. So I have reached out a couple times and trying to get those answers, because they do some finishings, but it doesn't say. They'll tell you there is a finishing, but I was trying to find specifically, because there's different releases, like of the light whiskey. There's different releases. You can tell them apart by the proof, because they're all different. They're just released as is. So the two that we're going to go over tonight, there's a Polish Rye that is literally distilled in Poland and you would think that I could pronounce this properly, being a Croatian, but they're Polish. So what are you going to do? But it's but it's from the Kozuba Sons Distillery, and this was distilled in Poland, and then they decided, hey, we want to move to the United States, and so this whiskey was brought over, and it's an 8-year Polish rye whiskey, extremely unique. And my understanding is the Polish rye has a wine finish to it, but I don't know, because they did some out of the Madison County vineyards in Iowa, and then there were some that were finished in port, and I don't know which is which, because it's kind of goes by the proof. And then we've got a light whiskey, which this is a 14-year light whiskey that was distilled by LDI, or Lawrenceburg Distillers, which became MGP, as as things do. But they've done a 13-year and a 14-year release of the light whiskey, and this is the 14-year one.
It doesn't.
So
I was trying to get the percentage up there, but it wasn't focusing.
Oh yeah. So the Polish rye whiskey is 59.1% ABV. The light whiskey is 73.5%. We are clearly in hazmat territory.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. This is probably one of the higher proofed whiskeys I've had. Usually you get around 70, but above 70 is
it doesn't
beefy.
get much higher.
No,
and I would say unless you've already decided which one, I would suggest having had both of these. And I don't know if Ben's tried both or not, but I would try the light whiskey first.
Okay.
All right.
And then and I would also ask when you try the light whiskey just to humor me and do once where you take a sip and you keep it at the front of your mouth, and then we'll just go on from there.
I'm going to make a reference here just before we get moving too much further. I bit the hell out of the back right side of my tongue. So if I make some weird face, there's a distinctive reason for it, and it might not be legit. It may be legit. I can't tell you at that point.
Salt in your eyes
but
for you.
Let's start pouring in the light whiskey.
One thing I really, really like about, it's just that nice bottle size, it feels good. But the cork, it's one of those one-piece corks, synthetic corks.
Okay.
Which I like those because they just don't break.
I feel like everyone should be doing synthetic corks, but that's a whole nother show.
Okay. So initially, obviously, before you get into the nosing stuff like that, take a quick sip and just hold it in the front of your mouth for about 5-10 seconds, and just give your inputs.
Wow. That's almost like a weird combination of sweet tarts and like alcohol heat on the front of my lip. Oh, Tim said something close to that too. Where is that?
Ooh, that's a tingle, baby.
Yeah, it's still. Ooh, it's right behind my teeth now. It just started to pull away. Yeah, and that's good. Oh, and this is a good question that Wheels brought up too. If maybe the Polish Rye is similar to the Bosch Rye.
It is. This is the Bush Rye is from Kozuba Sons.
Okay.
I don't know that it's the same batch, and I don't know that it actually came from Poland, but it is from that same distillery from the family.
Same distillery.
There you go.
We need to reach out to them and see if they brought the still over. One of those. Probably not, but you do have your.
I don't know.
Just curious what their stocks are on it that they were able to get over.
Yeah.
Makes you want to buy up a bottle quickly and make sure you hold on to it.
I'll say ahead of time, and because you have time to order it now and get it. Ace Spirits out of Minnesota is one place that does carry the Obtainium. And Ace does have 10% off of your order going on right now. There's several. There's even places out of California that sells it, but I know that Ace for sure has it. And then there's another place in California, but go to Wine Searcher, look it up. But Ace is good people. They deliver to pretty much every state.
Okay.
So now that you've got the numb,
it's gone. That's out of the way. Going back to the nose. Now going back to the nose, maybe it's because I already had a drink, but it doesn't even smell like there's alcohol in it.
No.
That's just it.
Yeah. I was going to say, before I even took a sip, I went into the nose a couple of times, and the ethanol's there. There you can smell the alcohol is there, but it is not what you're expecting for a proof like this.
No.
You can get down in there and you can enjoy this whiskey, and it's
And that's what's interesting. So basically, I'm probably wrong. I'll say that in advance, but MGP probably is the only one in the United States with stocks of light whiskey. Mostly, that's I would think because they were making them back in the Seagram's days, and they had them, and it was like the base for Seagram's for everything. And people, it was kind of a thing to have light whiskey. But light whiskey gets used in blends of other whiskeys to instead of using neutral grain spirits, because it's not distilled to neutral grain spirit level, but it is it is distilled
cleaner.
160 to 190, and then it's aged in new oak instead of in used oak, not new oak. But it's surprisingly very. Oh, and there's Eugene Nassif right there. Since he's in the chat, if you can, do you have any information? This light whiskey, it's a 73.5% of if and what finish is on this one.
You tell me this. I don't think there's a finish on it. Whatever. Let's do the nose.
I wouldn't guess there was a finish on it, not based on.
And this one maybe not. And I had heard conflicting stuff. The Polish Rye, I believe for sure is finished, and the Polish Rye that we're doing is 59.1. So that's the one we're trying to find out.
That's fine, but I'm no finish unless it says on the label. So there you go. Okay, good answer. That's what we thought. But okay, back on the nose on this because we didn't go into that very much.
Tim Downing said caramel blast and I'm assuming he's referring to this light whiskey, and that's exactly it's just a big hit of caramel.
Yeah, it's like caramel and hard candy.
Yeah,
with a little mint, and it's just.
I get like a nice little leather note in it as well too. And the top half of it's got this nice kind of lemon citrusy thing going on. If you go to the top of the glass, okay, I was sniffing it again. This might be the huffer's problem.
But see, that's the problem. Once you not the problem, I guess the advantage when you did that initially and you got all that shock in your mouth. After that, this is just pleasant, and it does not drink like the proof. It doesn't nose like the proof after that, and you don't expect that sweetness coming off of this. I mean, just by the proof alone, knowing what that is, you're expected that you're just going to get slapped around.
I get a hit of like old oak, old wood. Coming in there,
but it's so light and it's like towards the end of the nose, like, but like almost like a little light hay note as well too. Real kind of faint, kind of mixed in with the leather for me. But I'm gonna go in because I want to drink something. We've been waiting too long. Caramel blast is totally legit. Like that is a nice thick coating around the side. Then you start getting the heat to build up, but it really, I'd say it builds up to maybe what would typically be maybe a 50% whiskey in my mind, like as far as heat and aggressiveness goes in that nature. Wow. This is really enjoyable. I have another light whiskey that I sent you guys that we're going to get into. It's from La Crosse, and I'm starting not to mind the light whiskey. I think these things I think are more of a entry into whiskey than some other things even would be. Even at 73, I mean, if people are looking to have a good time, yes, maybe I start pouring it intentionally. But I can see how a lot of people would be able to hit this and go back for more without it being an issue, even though it is a nice high proof.
Yes.
It's interesting the way it hits my palate. A lot of times when I'm sipping a whiskey, I get a visual in my head, whether it's like a dimensional object or sometimes music or color kind of things going on that help me process it. And with this, I almost feel like it's like two-dimensional, like it's coming across my palate really thin. Like some whiskeys stack up, they're dense and thick in the mouth on the palate. This one's like coming across, but it's just all the way across my palate, but it just comes across really thin and goes back, and you just get this intense wafer of caramel that blast through, and then you get some of this peppery spice going on. It's not overly complex in any way, but it's just darn tasty.
It's got the caramel, it's got a little black pepper, a little white pepper. Once the heat picks up on the back end, you get a nice barrel note. It's just a really nice solid whiskey.
It is, and I mean,
you do get a little.
Let's be honest, I like it.
Ooh, it does leave you with that what I think is a nice little numbing aspect to it. Kind of almost a little bit like when your mouth is coming back from getting like a shot at the dentist. Like It's been a couple hours later, and you're like, oh, I can feel my lips, and like it's coming back that way. That's I don't know. I'm really impressed with this light whiskey because I know not enough people dabble in it. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Novocaine for the soul right here, baby.
That's right.
I didn't read the rest of them because I just looked down, but Tim has probably got it right. It will catch up with us at some point if we keep drinking this one. Come on, thing. You got a hot hand. Sorry about that.
Yeah, Gene also noticed on there that they are, where did he say that? Yeah, they've ran out of the Polish Rye.
Yep, I saw that one.
Track that one down, folks.
Yep.
Yes, I said it's
We'll
definitely
be getting onto
available.
that shortly.
Yeah, I was like, we haven't even gotten there yet.
We'll get there, but there's time. They can listen and they can type and they can order before this stuff disappears.
And that's very, very, very true. And Gene was saying it's light. It isn't crazy complex, but he blends it with bourbons and ryes to make that. I could see that. I could really see that. I think this is a nice base, and if you had some stuff that might have came in low on a bourbon, like proof wise, it would be a nice way to kind of bump that up to kind of bring out the flavors in that. That's a really, really good idea, Eugene. Nice.
Added a few drops of water here.
Just to see what happens. Okay, we'll do that real quick, and then we'll move on to the next one. We'll get you people.
Yeah, I'm on the fence with the water.
Would you say musty? I got like a little celery, note.
Yeah,
celery. a little bit more of a damn thing in that one.
I get a little bit more. Yeah, and I get more oak spice, more barrel spice on the palate with that coming in with the caramel.
With the water, the caramel is almost
more wood spice.
So smooth, and like Ben's saying, the second half of that kicks up, but the first half it's just a nice little blanket.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's fun. That's really fun.
Yeah, it is.
What is everyone in the chat drinking? You lovely people out there. What are you drinking? And I'm going to cheers to you. I'm going to finish this one real quick. So cheers.
Low proof peasants.
I'm not doing what we did last time when we had stuff like this, where it was like, I'm going to drink every 2-ounce bottle I have tonight. So we are not doing that.
Don't do that.
Yeah, I think this one actually just took. I was trying to think back. I think this took. This takes first place as the highest proof whiskey that I've had. I've had a George T. Stagg that was 144, 72. So this one jumps it up a little bit more. So
tail end, I'm getting just a titch of mint on the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like just a hint of spearmint on the finish.
Yeah. Yeah, the finish definitely has a little hit of mint going on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Quite a bit.
I do.
A little menthol cigarette note going on too.
That would be a good way to describe it. That's an excellent way to describe that. Nice. Ooh, Eli.
Newport.
Eli's drinking the Highland Park 18. Nice. Yeah. All right, here now.
Never go wrong with that.
Yeah.
Who makes that craft whiskey, Eli?
All right. Now, let's switch over to the Cat's Eye Obtainium 8-year Polish Rye.
Yeah.
And just to close up here, it has, I like the labeling again. I don't know if it's me switching back to being more of like old world and like spirits of French lick and other things with a little bit more polished off or nice looking font. But I like this when I see it. You know, it feels legitimate, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Now I'm pouring this one. You guys already have it out?
Oh, yeah. And I'm real curious what you think, being not a rye lover.
Yeah.
I think that's not entirely true. I just dislike some things about rye. There's a few notes.
I think Mike and I want to sit back and just watch you take.
I know, I do too. I just want to watch your face.
Just take it in.
You guys have me worried like you did when we did the Highware one, where I was just going to be frightened about it, and I was like, actually, I really like this. This isn't bad. Okay, let's go to the nose on this. Whoa! It's got some oomph, man.
Yeah, man. Kneeling in a glass.
Oh.
Yep.
Wow, that is rich, like rye bread, man. Holy shit. That's freaky. Like, how it's a nice bready note on it as well too. Sorry, but that is overwhelming at first. Very overwhelming at first. Then
a lot of dark cherry.
A lot of what?
Dark cherry.
Yeah, I was gonna say dark cherry, and on the back half, yes, it's just a hint. It's a hint of black licorice, and it's not crazy, but it's in there.
I love this.
Yeah, this is just, and it's got caramel, and it's just it's a nice. Goddamn, and this came from Poland. I wonder if we can they import their rye?
No jokes, please.
What? Oh yeah. Just a titch of an ethanol note in there, hidden behind all the flavors. You just get a little punch of it.
I'm curious what the stuff they've been distilling in the States tastes like.
Yes, I think that would be a whole nother show, is to nab them and see if we can't do a little 1-2 with them, because I think that flavor difference would be interesting. Yeah. So I want to know if maybe they brought the still with them. A whole another thing. We're trying to keep the flavor profile. Okay, what do you guys get on the nose? Sorry, mine. I don't feel like mine might be a little stuffed up.
I get dark cherry. I get some like dark cocoa powder. I get a little bit of dill and a faint eucalyptus note coming in back there. I get that rye, like a fresh baked rye bread note. A lot of molasses, brown sugar.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
The molasses kind of mixes with that little licoricey note. The nose note for me is where that blends together. I'm going in for a drink. Once again,
I get that. I get a little like caramelized apricot.
That's a nice. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Right. Wait. Oh, you get that apricot more on the top half of the glass. Yeah. That really comes up down there on the top half. Holy shit. Whoa. I know what you guys are talking about. It is a punch of that flavor. Yeah. It is not for me, it's not that bad as you guys were thinking I react. Gene, if you haven't seen the show before, I react poorly to black licorice and anise. It's just no one's fault. That's just the way my palate works. This is actually pretty good, even though it was like for like a second, almost. And I didn't go back to have a second sip. On the verge of like a Ferrari whiskey, where it ramps up like as you're drinking it, like the flavors start to really peel off. So I'm gonna go back in. Hey Spence, good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. Chris, good to see you too. Okay. I think Ed would love this. From the Rock Gut Review, I think this is right up Ed's alley. Holy shit.
He's getting some.
Okay.
He doesn't know it yet, unless he watches this. But he's getting. Ed's going to get some of these because I think this is right up Ed's alley.
Yeah, this is for having notes that are more prominent that I generally dislike. This is a pretty enjoyable whiskey for me. Like I'm kind of going right past those, even though they're there, because they're there and they're strong, but they don't hit that peak note for me. When you get some of that anise, you get kind of that really sharp note every now and then, and it's a little more rounded off in this, and I think that really makes a difference for me.
Well, keep in mind you did have the light whiskey right before this, which that's going to affect you a little bit, and I think if you go back on its own, because I figured you're either going to not like this and we were going to have a really great moment, or you're going to like this and we have a great moment. But I think if you do this without having the light whiskey, because you're a little numb to things, but it is it's not for anyone's had like Pikesville cast strength, which is it's gonna beat you up for your lunch money because it can. This is different. It's I don't want to say it's not gentle. It's very bold and thick and rich and dark, and it's just great. I really, really like this rye.
Yeah.
It's because the edges are rounded down, man. I think the 8 years really made a big difference in this. I mean, that really
and at that proof too. That's what's. I mean, even when you have this by
60%,
like the first drink, that's pretty good proof. And it drinks pretty easy for that proof, I think.
I was going to say my first, having already had an experience with this and now coming back to it, having that high proof light whiskey first, that really took some of the edge off on this for me coming back to it, because like I told you, Pat, for me, first sip, first time, it was like trying Stag Junior for the first time. It just had such a big hit of flavor, and even the proof was a little, I won't say oomphy, but it just, everything together just made this huge impact of flavor on me, and loved it. I feel like a lot of that was rounded off this time a little bit, coming off of that light whiskey. But
I could still feel like this had punch and could have grabbed you a bit. If it wanted to, but I mean, I don't know. I'm digging this.
I love it. The finish is freaking phenomenal on this thing. It just goes on and on.
Yeah, it does not quit. It's a forever finish. You could have one glass of this and.
Right. Yeah, Gene said it's a rye lover's rye, absolutely, and it's phenomenal, man. This is going to be. For 2021, for me, this sets a high bar for rye.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. I'm like, you want me to go back, but because of some of the things we ran into at the end of last year, I'm going to end up keeping a chunk of this just because I feel like I may need this later in the year for the 2021 whiskeys of the year or ryes of the year, because this is wow, and it's like the standard rye, and I am not normally standard rye woohoo, but this is. This is like pitching down the middle of the plate for me. Like, it's a little different, but it's like anyone who likes this should be hitting out of the park. I can't. This is I don't know.
And honestly, anyone, if you're intrigued, take the time now, order it. I know for sure Ace Spirits has it. I cannot remember the place that's in California that has it and delivers. I'm talking about places I knew that delivered to me in Missouri, but you can go and look on Wine Searcher and find things that deliver to your state and find it. But yeah, Ace Spirits in Hopkins, Minnesota, they've got it for sure. They deliver to most states, since this is not going to be around forever, at least in this iteration. So,
and there's a nice mint on the finish. That after you get other stuff, there's a nice mint that kind of trails along with the barrel note and a little bit of spice, and it really goes for a while, and I really enjoy it. Hey, Donald, good to see you. Thanks for stopping in, man. I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Yes, I'm sure you missed one before, Emily, when I first had one of them.
I say it's well loved. I already have a backup of it, and it's probably going to be another backup hooking up here pretty soon.
Well, I have one on the way.
I could make that happen, Eli.
I'd be really, really curious to try this in a cocktail. Only man. just to see what it would do, but I'm almost afraid. I mean,
I love it, man. I think this is cutting through shit, and nothing's gonna crap on it in a cocktail.
I think it would take you a little bit to work your ratios out, given how I mean, it's not abrasive. It's bold, but it's not abrasive.
I'd love to see this in a Manhattan, in a really good Manhattan, and maybe even a Manhattan you make up and then you put it in a little barrel and barrel age it for a few weeks or something. I think that might just be freaking phenomenal with this. But
and he was saying that he did hook up the Crowded Barrel with the Polish Rye barrels.
Sweet.
So that's good. Thank you for doing that. We love that it branches out and everyone helps each other out in this industry, because everyone can create some different stuff in different regions, and it is awesome.
Yeah.
I'd love to see what that Texas aging impact had on the Bush Rye.
That's true.
So these guys too is another thing to talk about Cat's Eye. I know Obtainium is, I guess, a sister company or offshoot or whatever of Cat's Eye, but Cat's Eye is also part of the Distiller's Handshake with Cedar Ridge, Mississippi River, Blom Brothers, and Templeton. And and they've put out their own things, whatever. And I don't, especially, native Iowan, I don't get up there enough, especially lately, to go and try to find some of that stuff. But we know we like Blom Brothers. We've had some good Cedar Ridge. We've had some good Mississippi River.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they didn't they? Of course, Gene could probably throw in there too. But I think that they put out a release or two that donated the profits to bartenders that lost their jobs due to COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Which you got to love stuff like that too.
Yeah. And like you're saying, Obtainium is just a sourced brand. I did know that, but he was saying that he also does the distiller's handshake too. He's pretty involved. He's pretty involved over there, and you're making some fucking really good decisions. We're more than 5 minutes in. You're allowed to swear more than 5 minutes in on our channel. So these are really good choices. High proof. Do not drink anywhere near the proof level that they are, which is good. I love it. And they're saying that the handshake
very nice
donated 10 grand. That's cheers to that. That way to go. That it's a lot of help to people who really need it. So thank you.
And if you want, and so since we don't care what we say at this point, I will say, because I bought and I have thoroughly loved and enjoyed my bottle of Cat's Eye Krupnik, as they call it, Christmas in a glass. So I like to call it. It's a fireball, not for douchebags. It is beautiful, rich cinnamon. Like you said, that Christmas in a glass is very. I think it's very appropriate. But man, everybody that I gave it to, they were like, oh yeah, whatever. Then as soon as they drank it, they're like, oh man, because it is just. It's a really fun, nice whiskey. So I'm looking forward to trying a lot more Cat's Eye stuff.
Me too. I mean, if this is what you're picking for some of the things you're going to, like when people begin to source things right away, if this is what you're picking and aiming for, and you're doing an excellent job of blending and doing other stuff like that, you see the path that people are going to be on, and you feel like they're going to hit at that same pace with everything they're doing. Yeah. So, as you want me to do the blend. Okay, I drank all of it. We're going to do the blend quick.
Yeah, we'll 50-50 blend of the light whiskey and the Polish Rye.
Okay. I might just go a little heavy on the light, but that's okay. Oh, wow. The caramel doesn't go away, but you get some of the notes from the Polish Rye.
Almost turns maple syrup like.
Yeah.
It smells like buckwheat pancakes, man. Just drowned in maple syrup.
Wow, that's weird. Sorry, that's just a weird turn, man. And I agree completely. Those are some unique things. All right. We'll take a sip of this. A little too sugary for me on the blend, and it's right away because after that, oh my god! Like the finish on this is amazing though. Like the front, first 2 seconds, just all sugar, and then all the flavors roll, and it is sticking around, and my mouth is starting to salivate.
Man, I just got this incredible note of orange oil, orange zest, orange oil coming on the finish, right at the end of the swallow before the finish really comes on. It was intense. Holy cow, that was good.
That's a 50-50 blend. So
I was iffy
buy
for 2
both
seconds.
bottles, everybody. buy the Polish Rye and buy the light whiskey. Drink them and make blends.
Oh my god, yes. That blend is delicious. Absolutely.
It is.
Delicious.
It's fantastic finish.
Wow. I can see why they put that in a lot of their other blends that the 14-year-old. That's fantastic. All right, now before we get going and we let everyone go, let's go over what we got coming on, because normally we do an evening with tonight. Not tonight. It got pushed off till Friday. So this Friday night, the 15th, 8 o'clock, our normal usual time, we'll be having Royce Neely from Neely Family Distillery on. Rebecca might even pop up as well too for a little bit. We'll be talking to them about all the stuff they're doing down there, and we will be tasting 3 of their whiskeys. One is their all-night oatmeal, which just sounds really interesting. And I haven't touched any of these yet. The other one is the Maltley Crew, which I like the name. You got to do with that. And the last one is the one they sent over to the 2020 San Francisco that won gold for them. That was a 30-month bourbon. So we have some stuff that we're going to be tasting from them that will be pretty exciting that night. We'll do reviews of it too, but we'll taste it that night because who doesn't want to drink twice? And then, since it's Friday the 15th and we're rolling around to the next Monday is the 18th, and we are having the heirloom grains in the kitchen with Gary and Alan, one from Woodhat, one from Spirits of French Lick. And what you don't see in the middle here where the pots and pans are is a face of Robert Licorice.
Yep.
He's going to
We'll add the ginger.
Mike has to add the ginger for the stream. Robert's be coming on.
Got to sprinkle a little ginger in there.
just to boost up the flavor. So we're going to be having him on. We're going to be drinking whiskey. I'm going to be drinking whiskey. Everyone else is going to be cooking some form of heirloom grain that night, or heirloom corn. Ben, Alan, and Gary are all going to be cooking. I don't know if Mike's cooking. Robert's probably going to give us a couple recipes. I don't know if he's cooking. I'm not going to cook. I'm just going to sit by and watch everyone and make whoever needs to be the big screen that night. So I'm going to sit back and just drink, and I'm going to love it that night. Other than that, I don't think we have too much else here. I think it's about 40 minutes in. That's more than good enough for a double review. So let's see you guys later this week. Let's see you on Friday. Really big things. We'll probably have a review that pops out before then. But stop in, and that's going to be next couple shows are going to be really fun. And we're booked up through like mid-February already. So another couple days we'll post something so you can see everyone coming out, and we might already be into March at that point. So it'll be pretty sweet. Go ahead.
Plenty of advance notice. The Heather Manley stream.
Yes.
And purchasing.
Yes.
So. On March 26th, we're going to have Heather Manley on. If you go to Ace Spirits, you can purchase tasting kit number 2 is what we're going to be doing that night with her. It's going to be a Friday night again because she doesn't have kids, and we're going to stay up and we're going to have 5 to 7 drinks and have a good time. But we're going to be going through kind of about half of what she's doing. And there is an pre-made old fashioned in there. They have their bourbon in there. They have the Regatta Rye in there. Then they have their London Dry gin and an aged vodka. And I know with either the London Dry or the vodka, we're also going to make a cocktail. Be super sweet. If you, for some reason, cannot find it at Ace Spirits, our email is in the description. Email us. We will find a way for you to get it. It can happen. So it is totally doable. And even if there's a few of you in a certain area that want it, we could make sure you get a set all sent to one residence and get like how many ever your area needs. So that is not a problem. Feel free to get a hold of us, and we want you to, because that night is going to be outstanding. That'd be super sweet. So I think that's good. I think it was really nice. These were really nice whiskeys.
Yep.
Yes, they were.
Wow. Disturbingly good. So from our den to yours, remember, it's not the size of the den that matters. It's the love of whiskey. Cheers, everyone out there.
Cheers.
Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3.